Fire Emblem Awakening is turning 10 years old this year in North America, so I thought right before the release of Fire Emblem Engage, the latest entry in the series, it would be a good time to go back and revisit this classic 3DS game. Let's get into it. Hello there everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Botox Media. Of course, if you're new here, please subscribe for more 3DS content. I've been posting a ton of 3DS videos. This one just lined up right before Fire Emblem Engage comes out. So over the past holiday break, I was playing Fire Emblem Awakening again, testing out my new 3DS capture card, and I thought, you know what? This will make a really fun video, because Fire Emblem Awakening, I think, is the most important Fire Emblem game. I know it's not the best selling anymore. Fates and I think Three Houses are right around neck and neck right now, but it is certainly the game that changed the series and saved the series. I don't need to beat a dead horse. Everybody knows that if this game didn't sell well, we weren't going to get any more. I think Nintendo literally said, hey, if this doesn't do 250k units, you're done. No more Fire Emblem. I mean, that's crazy, because although it wasn't huge in the West, I mean, Fire Emblem had been going for almost 30 years at that point in Japan, or 20 years. So to see them just kind of be like, hey, listen, you got to do something here, and then they did it, that's always a good story, you know. We didn't see the same thing happen with Chibi Robo, where they said if Ziplash didn't sell well, they were going to be done. That game didn't sell well, so they're done. But with Fire Emblem, it just completely rejuvenated the franchise, and I know some people, like the old school fans, aren't the most happy with the direction the series has gone, and even I'm, as a person that started with Awakening, I'm not happy where it's at right now with Three Houses. I don't think that game captures what Fire Emblem is very well. I think it's way too Persona, personally. But Fire Emblem Awakening was certainly kind of like that cross in between, you know. It was still pretty classical Fire Emblem, at least from what I have played of the previous games in the franchise, while still bridging that gap into what most people would consider weeb shit or anime crap, you know. As for me, I'm okay with that to a degree. I think Fates is absolutely the worst offender, and I think they have gotten a little bit better. Engage looks it looks like an Atelier game, which inherently makes it look a little bit more anime, but I think it looks good. It looks like they've toned down, in general, I'm not saying with Engage, but they've toned down what happened with Fates, but Awakening, let's talk about that game, right? So this released on February 4th, 2013 in North America. It actually released in 2012 in Japan, so it's actually over 10 years old already. But I wanted to go ahead and do this video before Engage comes out, because obviously I'll be busy with that game. Going back to this was honestly a trip down memory lane. I haven't played it since 2013 when it came out. It was my first Fire Emblem game, and I thought it'd be fun to just kind of reminisce, right? Not necessarily do a review of the game, just kind of talk about the state of its release and kind of how it impacted me and how it kind of shaped my 2013 a little bit. So I had heard of Fire Emblem, of course. I played Brawl, I played Melee growing up, but I didn't really know. I didn't really know what Fire Emblem was when this game came out. And then my best friend at the time, he was like, listen, there's this new game called Fire Emblem. We all play 3DS. You know, at this point, all my friends were on 3DS. That's where we were. We didn't have PS3, we didn't have 360. We were playing that 3DS back in 2013, baby. So I hadn't really, this was not on my radar, right? As someone who was buying Nintendo Power, although I think at this point Nintendo Power actually was dead, and this is when Nintendo 4 started, the little online print magazine. As someone who was reading that magazine, it just was not on my radar. I had never played a tactics game at this point. You know, I never played Final Fantasy Tactics. In general, I didn't play a ton of JRPGs as a broader scale at this point. And I think this is the game that kind of opened my eyes to that, you know. Later that year, or the year after, I believe, I played SMT4 for the first time. And then, you know, just a bunch of other JRPGs, Final Fantasy games, and all these things. So I almost want to attribute Fire Emblem Awakening and my love of JRPGs to Fire Emblem Awakening. Obviously, this isn't a turn-based RPG in the traditional sense. It's a tactics RPG. But, you know, kind of same slice of game right there, right? But yeah, I remember my best friend at the time telling me to get it because he was playing it and loving it when it came out. And I was like, huh? What? Why would I buy that? I'm playing Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. I'm getting ready for Pokemon X and Y at the time. And no, he's like, no, dude, you got to get it. It's amazing. So eventually, I think I got it in May of 2013. I eventually got it. And oh my goodness, I could not put it down. That's what I would say if I liked it at first. Initially, the first couple hours, I as my first tactics game, and you have to understand, I was 12 when this game came out. I really just didn't get it, you know? I didn't get, support conversations, pairing up your units, all these things that make Fire Emblem what it is. Permadeath? No thanks. So it took me a while. It took me, I think I got it. I played it for a couple hours. I put it down for a few weeks. I was like, dude, why'd you tell me to get this game? It's not that I didn't think it was good. It's just that it wasn't for me at the time. But then a few months later, and it was in 2013. I can't remember exactly when, but a few months later, I finally picked it up again. And I don't know what it was, but something just clicked. I don't know what was in the air. This was still before Pokemon X and Y came out. And it just clicked so well. I played it on Classic, normal, so because the novelty of having a game so serious where your characters actually die was just awesome. I think at the same time I was also like super into The Walking Dead, so like having a main character die was like, oh man, this is crazy. So going back to it and finally getting through it and experience the story of Lucina and Chrom and all these characters that I've come to love was just so much fun. And that pure tactics gameplay is definitely what kind of just, this game is the reason I play these games now, you know? And while I think a lot of Fire Emblem fans might not be happy about it, the reality of it is Fire Emblem Awakening is probably, like, if I had to look at it a little bit more objectively, from the games I've played, of course, I haven't played the Ike games, I haven't played any of that, at least of the modern Fire Emblem games, it probably is the best one. It's not my favorite. I love Echoes. That game definitely has some gameplay issues, though, in terms of the map design. The Fire Emblem Awakening is so solid, is so consistent all the way through. There's never really a dull moment. I remember thinking the cutscenes on 3DS, I know they're just cutscenes, like pre-rendered 3D animated cutscenes. I remember thinking those just looked absolutely incredible, and they still hold up to this day, even in, 240p, right? So this game is special. This game is, I think this game is probably one of the best 3DS games, and is one of the most timeless Fire Emblem games, where I think Three Houses, well, I didn't really like that game even when it came out, but I think that game especially is going to age very poorly. Fates is fucking weird. And then Echoes, like I said, although I love it, has gameplay issues. Awakening is really good. It's just, it's probably the most consistent Fire Emblem game they've released since 2013, you know? Which is kind of crazy to think. The series is in a much better spot now with where it's at, trying to be Persona and all these things. So I won't deny that obviously people want what's going on with Fire Emblem right now, but Awakening is that mix of, like, it's so funny because, like, I remember when this game came out, people were like, oh, this isn't Fire Emblem. Now I'm at the point where I'm like, no, Three Houses isn't Fire Emblem, Awakening is Fire Emblem. Now we've, like, gone a whole nother generation. I'm like I'm like an OG fan now almost. Obviously I'm joking, but yeah, obviously I'm very happy with the series' success. I do wish there was games more like Awakening and Echoes and less like Fates and Three Houses, and I'm going to assume Engage will probably fall in that trio, but we'll see, of course, when that game comes out to do a video on it. But yeah, it's so weird going back to games like this, because really my last exposure to it was in 2013. I had, some experience with the characters again in Heroes in 2017 and 2018, but most of this game's plot and all that stuff I had forgotten. Obviously, I knew I didn't forget, Lucina being Chrom's daughter, obviously. Obviously, I didn't remember every little beat with the enemies and all that, and just all the characters, some characters that you might forget, like Frederick or Stahl, or even my boy Donald, obviously, piece of garbage. It's just a lot of fun to go back to, and if you haven't replayed Fire Emblem Awakening since it came out, I highly recommend you go check it out, because there are some things that playing it again, I was a little taken off by. Specifically the lack of voice acting. I forgot that voice acting basically wasn't a thing. It's just like a little grunt from the character and then the dialogue. A little weird to go back to that. The game visually, during like the 3D model cutscenes, that certainly looks like a 3DS game, but the sprite work in the actual gameplay and those pre-rendered cutscenes, like I mentioned, those look beautiful. And overall, the presentation for a 3DS game is fantastic. Don't get me wrong here. I don't want to discredit it too much. But yeah, if you haven't played this game since 2013, if you've never played it at all, I highly recommend you check it out. It is, it goes for about retail price on the aftermarket. Of course, you can always just mod your 3DS. And yeah, I really recommend it. If you are a newer Fire Emblem fan, even newer than me, that got into it with Fates or Three Houses especially, I know it was the first game for a lot of people, I highly recommend you check out Awakening. It is kind of like the birthplace of modern Fire Emblem, and it is very good. It really does hold up despite some of those kind of holdbacks of being on 3DS. So with that all said, thank you so much for watching. Let me know down in the comments below your experience with Fire Emblem Awakening, kind of just a nostalgia kind of topic here. I thought this would be fun. I might do some more of these soon. And, of course, subscribe here for more Nintendo 3DS content, Fire Emblem coverage. I will be doing a review for Fire Emblem Engage, hopefully before release. We'll see if that happens. And, yeah, of course, like the video if you enjoyed it, and follow me on Twitter. Until next time, folks, bye-bye.